Esteemed viewers, prepare to be swept away by a saga that will seize your heart and set your spirit ablaze. Behold the unbreakable resolve of a young woman rising from the crucible of cruelty and bullies humiliate new black girl at prom, unaware. She is ruthless boxer, narrative brimming with betrayal, redemption, and breathtaking twists that will leave you in awe. If your heart overflows with love for your mother and father, honor them by smashing that subscribe button now. Join our storytelling community and show your support for this unforgettable journey.
Oh.
Don't miss out. Let's embark on this epic tale together. Tiana Jackson stepped off the Greyhound bus in Willow Creek, Georgia, her duffel bag slung over her shoulder, its worn straps digging into her skin. The town sprawled before her, a patchwork of verdant hills and blooming magnolias, their sweet scent mingling with the faint hum of a sleepy southern summer. At 17, Tiana was a striking figure, her deep ebony skin, athletic build, and poised stride drew eyes. But the stares from Willow Creek's residents carried a weight beyond curiosity. She was the new girl, the black girl, in a place where faces like hers were as rare as rain in August. Her father, Major Marcus Jackson, a decorated military officer, had been reassigned to a base 30 miles away, and her mother Angela, a nurse with a heart as wide as the horizon, insisted Willow Creek High would be a fresh start. Tiana wasn't convinced, her dark eyes scanning the quaint storefronts and quiet streets. Sensing the unspoken boundaries she'd soon cross, her first week at Willow Creek High was a gauntlet. The school's hallways buzzed with the energy of cliques, their hierarchies as rigid as the oak trees lining the campus. At the apex stood Brittany Caldwell, an 18-year-old senior whose platinum blonde hair and saccharine smile concealed a predatory edge. Brittany's inner circle Madison, a cheerleader whose laughter rang hollow, and Chloe, a gossip monger whose whispers spread like wildfire, ruled with an iron grip. They noticed Tiana immediately, their eyes narrowing at her quiet confidence, her refusal to shrink under their gaze. "Who does she think she is?" Brittany muttered one day at lunch, her manicured nails tapping the table as she watched Tiana sit alone, sketching in a leather-bound notebook, earbuds drowning out the cafeteria's din. Madison smirked, her voice low. "She's got no allies. Easy prey." The bullying began subtly, a slow drip of malice. A clumsy bump in the hallway sent Tiana's textbook sprawling across the linoleum, her pencils rolling under lockers. Whispers trailed her scholarship kid, outsider, doesn't belong. Notes appeared in her locker, their contents escalating from snide remarks to crude caricatures and racial slurs scrawled in garish pink marker. Tiana's jaw clenched with each insult, her fists balling in her pockets, but she swallowed her anger. She carried a secret, one honed in the gritty gyms of her past. Tiana was a boxer, trained since age 12 by her Uncle Reggie, a former Golden Gloves champion. In the ring, she was a force, her punches swift and precise, her footwork a dance of power and grace. But outside it, she kept her prowess hidden, knowing her fists couldn't mend every wound. The harassment intensified as weeks passed. Brittany's crew grew bolder, their taunts echoing in the locker room, their laughter cutting through the chatter of study hall. Tiana ignored them, her focus split between her studies and her sketches, intricate drawings of cityscapes and boxing rings. Her dreams poured onto paper. At home, her parents sensed her strain but mistook it for homesickness. "Give it time, baby," Angela said, her hands gentle on Tiana's shoulders. "You're stronger than this place." Tiana nodded, but the weight of isolation pressed harder each day. Spring arrived, and with it, prom seasona, frenzy of glitter, gossip, and grand plans that consumed Willow Creek High. Tiana had no interest in the spectacle. Dresses and dances felt frivolous compared to her goals of college and a boxing career, but Angela was adamant. "You're not hiding, Tiana," she said one evening, holding up a thrifted emerald green gown that shimmered like a forest at dusk. "You're going to walk into that gym and shine." Angela's eyes glowed with pride, and Tiana relented, her heart half in it, a flicker of excitement stirring beneath her doubts. She didn't know Brittany had overheard Angela's phone call to a seamstress about the dress, or that a cruel plot was coalescing in the blonde's mind. In the weeks leading to prom. Tiana found an unexpected ally in Jamal Carter, a lanky junior who sat behind her in chemistry. Jamal was quiet, his glasses perpetually sliding down his nose, but his dry humor and sharp mind caught Tiana off guard. He noticed her sketches one day, leaning over to admire a drawing of a boxer mid-punch. "That's dope," he said, his smile genuine. "You draw like you mean it." Tiana hesitated, then smiled back, their conversation a small oasis in her desert of solitude. Jamal's kindness lingered, a reminder that not everyone saw her as a target. Prom night descended. The gymnasium transformed into a fairy tale realm of fairy lights, velvet drapes, and a thumping bass line. Tiana entered, her gown hugging her. Frame, its deep green, accentuating her strength and elegance. Her braids swept into an intricate updo, gleamed under the lights, and her eyes, though guarded, held a quiet fire. Heads turned, some with admiration, others with envy. For a moment, Tiana felt like she belonged, her heart lifting as she moved through the crowd. Then she saw Brittany's clique by the punch bowl, their laughter sharp, their gazes predatory. "Ah!" Tiana's stomach twisted, but she straightened her shoulders and glided to the dance floor, swaying alone, letting the music pull her into its rhythm. She didn't notice Chloe slip away to the control booth or Madison fiddle with the projector cables. The music cut off abruptly, plunging the gym into a stunned silence. A spotlight hit Tiana, its glare blinding, pinning her like a specimen. On the massive screen behind her, a video flickered to life, a vicious montage of doctored images. Tiana's face was photoshopped onto degrading scenes, racial slurs flashing in bold crimson, her locker notes scanned and magnified for all to see. Laughter erupted, a cruel wave crashing over her. Brittany stepped forward, microphone in hand, her voice dripping with mock pity. "Oh, Tiana, did you really think you could fit in here? Go back to where you came from." The crowd's laughter seared Tiana's ears, each chuckle a dagger. Her fists clenched, nails digging into her palms, the fire she'd caged in the ring roaring to life. She wanted to charge, to shatter Brittany's smug facade with a single punch, but the weight of every eye rooted her in place. Shame and rage collided, her breath hitching, tears pricking her eyes. Not for them, fall not here, not for them. She turned to leave, her heels clicking on the polished floor, her vision blurring. When a voice cut through the chaos, "Stop this." It was Jamal, his lanky frame pushing through the crowd, his glasses glinting under the spotlight. He was trembling, but his voice carried a quiet fury. "This is sick, Brittany. You're pathetic." Murmurs rippled through the crowd, some students nodding, others shifting uncomfortably. Brittany's face reddened, her smile faltering. "Mind your business, nerd," she snapped, but Jamal didn't flinch. He crossed the floor to Tiana, his hand extended. "You don't have to go. Dance with me." Tiana's heart pounded, her fingers trembling as she took his hand. Jamal's courage was a lifeline, fragile but unbreakable. The music restarted, a slow R&B track filling the gym. They swayed together, their movements tentative but defiant. A few others joined them, outsiders, kids who'd never fit Brittany's mold, their presence a quiet rebellion. Tiana's chest loosened, her breath steadying, but she saw Brittany's eyes, glittering with venom, promising retribution. The moment felt like a truce, but Tiana knew the war wasn't over. After prom. Brittany's humiliation festered, her clique's whispers growing darker. Tiana heard rumors of an after-party in the woods, a lawless gathering of bonfires, cheap beer, and unchecked egos. More chilling was the gossip that Brittany's boyfriend, Derek, linebacker with a mean streak and a penchant for violence, planned to teach the new girl a lesson there. Tiana could have stayed home, wrapped in her mother's embrace. But something inside her had shifted. She was done running. Her boxing instincts hummed, a steady pulse beneath her fear. She changed into jeans, a hoodie, and sneakers. Her emerald gown left hanging in her closet and headed to the woods. Her resolve forged in steel. The after-party was a chaotic sprawl. The air thick with smoke, laughter, and the tang of spilled liquor. Tiana stayed on the edges, her water bottle a shield, her eyes scanning the crowd. The bonfires cast flickering shadows, their heat prickling her skin. She sensed the shift before she saw Derek emerging from the trees. Brittany, at his side, her smile a serpent's hiss. Derek was massive, his shoulders broad, his eyes glassy with alcohol and anger. "Think you're tough, new girl?" he slurred, stepping close, his breath reeking of beer. A crowd formed, phones raised, their lenses glinting like vultures' eyes. Tiana's pulse quickened, but her voice was steady. "Walk away, Derek. You don't want this." Asterisk, he laughed, a harsh bark, and shoved her shoulder hard. Was his mistake. Tiana's training kicked in, her body a coiled spring. She sidestepped his clumsy swing, her stance low, her eyes locked on his. "Last chance," she warned, her voice a blade. Derek lunged, his fist arcing toward her face. And Tiana struck a jab to his nose, blood blooming instantly, followed by a hook to his jaw that sent him staggering. The crowd gasped, phones trembling in their hands. Brittany screamed, "Get her, you idiot." Asterisk 2 of Derek's teammates, emboldened by bravado and beer, rushed in. Tiana was ready, her movements fluid, her punches surgical. A cross to one's ribs doubled him over, gasping for air. An uppercut caught the other under the chin, dropping him to the dirt. Derek tried to stand, blood trickling down his face, but Tiana's glare stopped him cold. "Stay down," she commanded, her voice resonant with authority. He sank back, cradling his jaw, his bravado shattered. Asterisk, the crowd was silent, the only sound the crackle of the fire. Brittany's face was a mask of fury and fear, her power unraveling before her eyes. Tiana stepped toward her, close enough to see the tremor in her lips. "You wanted to break me," Tiana said, her voice low, searing. "But you picked the wrong fight." She turned, walking through the parted crowd, her head high, the firelight casting her shadow long and unbroken. Whispers followed her, a mix of awe and fear, but Tiana didn't look back. Asterisk by Monday. The videos had spread like wildfire, shared across social media with hashtags like hashtag Willow Creek Takedown and hashtag TIANA the Titan. Tiana braced for consequences, her mother's worried eyes haunting her dreams. Angela had seen the footage, her face a mix of pride and fear. "You're my warrior," she said, hugging Tiana tightly, "but you scared me half to death." Tiana was summoned to the principal's office, where Mrs. Hayes, stern woman with gray-streaked hair and a no-nonsense demeanor, awaited. "I've reviewed the footage," Mrs. Hayes said, her tone unreadable. Tiana's stomach nodded, expecting expulsion. "You acted in self-defense. Derek, his friends, and Brittany are suspended. She's been stripped of her prom queen title." Tiana exhaled, disbelief washing over her. Mrs. Hayes leaned forward, her voice softening. "You're strong, Tiana, but strength isn't just in your fists. Use your voice next time. You're destined for greatness." Asterisk, the fallout reshaped Willow Creek High. Brittany's clique fractured, her influence crumbling as students whispered about her downfall. Some avoided Tiana, intimidated by her prowess. Others sought her out, drawn to her resilience. Jamal became her anchor, their friendship deepening over shared lunches and study sessions. He'd catch up with her in the park, their talks stretching into hours, his quiet courage a perfect foil for her fire. One evening, under a sky streaked with stars, he admitted, "I was scared for you that night, but you were unstoppable." Tiana smiled, a rare, unguarded smile, and felt the first stirrings of something more. Asterisk, word of Tiana's boxing skills reached Coach Ramsey, a grizzled ex-fighter who ran Willow Creek's only gym, a haven of creaking ropes and sweat-stained mats. He visited her at school, his weathered face breaking into a grin as he watched her. "I heard about you, kid," he said, his voice like gravel. "You've got heart. Train with me, and I'll make you a champion." Tiana accepted, her eyes alight. The gym became her sanctuary, each punch a vow to rise above her scars, each sparring match a step toward her dreams. Coach Ramsey pushed her hard, his gruff encouragement fueling her drive. "You're not just fighting opponents," he told her one day, wiping sweat from his brow. You're fighting every doubt, every hater. Keep swinging. Asterisk Tiana's parents, though shaken by the fight, swelled with pride as she found her footing. Angela framed a photo of her in the emerald gown, placing it on the mantel beside a picture of Tiana's Uncle Reggie in his boxing prime. Marcus, usually stoic, took her to the base one weekend, showing her the gym where soldiers trained. "You're a Jackson, Tiana," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "We don't quit." Tiana nodded, her heart full, her resolve ironclad. Asterisk, but the story held more twists, each one weaving deeper into Willow Creek's fabric. Weeks after the incident, Tiana discovered a letter in her locker, not a taunt, but a handwritten note. In unfamiliar script, sorry it read, signed by Chloe. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I was weak." Tiana's first impulse was to tear it up, but something stopped her. She found Chloe in the library, her eyes downcast, her usual bravado gone. "Why now?" Tiana asked, her voice measured. Chloe shrugged, her voice barely above a whisper. "I saw you in the woods. You didn't just win, you stood taller. I want to be better." Tiana studied her, seeing not just a bully, but a girl caught in Brittany's orbit, now seeking her own path. "Words aren't enough," Tiana said. "Tell me you mean it." Chloe nodded, and though trust was a distant prospect, a seed of change was planted. Asterisk at a school assembly a month later. Mrs. Hayes unveiled a new initiative, a peer mediation program to combat bullying, inspired by Tiana's ordeal. The announcement drew cheers, but the room fell silent when Brittany stood, unprompted, her eyes red-rimmed. "I was wrong," she said, her voice cracking. "I hurt her, Tiana, and I'm sorry." The words hung heavy, raw, and unpolished. Tiana froze, her heart torn between anger and suspicion. Brittany had lost everything: her crown, her clique, her untouchable status, but her apology felt like a fracture, a glimpse of vulnerability beneath her polished exterior. Tiana didn't respond, but later in the hallway, she caught Brittany's eye. "Prove it," she said, her tone firm but not unkind. Brittany nodded slowly, and though reconciliation was a marathon, not a sprint, a fragile bridge began to form. Asterisk, the spring semester brought new rhythm. Tiana trained daily, her skills sharpening under Coach Ramsey's watchful eye. She sparred with boys twice her size, her speed and precision earning grudging respect from even the gym's toughest veterans. At school, she joined the mediation program, her voice steady as she shared her story with younger students, urging them to stand up, to find allies, to heal. Jamal was her constant, their bond evolving. One night at a bonfire with new friends, kids who'd once been on the fringes, but now formed a tight crew, they kissed. Tentative and sweet, the stars above witnesses to a love born of shared scars. Asterisk graduation day dawned bright and radiant. Tiana crossing the stage to a thunderous applause, her family's cheers echoing in her soul. Angela wept openly. Marcus stood tall, and Reggie, flown in from Chicago, grinned like a proud father. Tiana had arrived in Willow Creek a stranger, marked by difference, but she left a beacon. Her resilience a lighthouse for others. As she tossed her cap into the air, she smiled, knowing she'd fought for every inch of her place and claimed it. Asterisk the summer after graduation. Tiana competed in her first regional boxing tournament, her gloves raised, her eyes fierce. The arena was a sea of noise, but her focus was singular. Each jab, each dodge, was for the 17-year-old girl who'd stepped off that bus, uncertain but unbowed. She won her first match by unanimous decision, her hand raised to a roaring crowd, Coach Ramsey's arm around her shoulders. "This is just the start, kid," he said, his voice thick. Tiana nodded, her heart soaring. She was Tiana Jackson, daughter of warriors, boxer of dreams, and her story was only beginning. Asterisk months later. Back in Willow Creek for a visit, Tiana walked through the high school gym, now adorned with a plaque for the mediation program, her name etched as its inspiration. She paused, tracing the letters, her reflection faint in the polished wood. She thought of Brittany, now volunteering at a youth center, her apology slowly taking shape through actions. Of Chloe, who'd joined the mediation team, her guilt, a quiet fuel for change. Of Jamal, now at college, their love letters a steady thread across the distance. Tiana smiled, her scars no longer wounds but badges. Proof she'd survived and thrived. Asterisk as she left the gym, a group of freshman girls spotted her, their eyes wide with awe. "You're Tiana, right?" one asked, clutching a phone with a screenshot of the video. "You're a legend." Tiana laughed, shaking her head. "I'm just me," she said. "But you're unstoppable. Believe it." She walked into the sunset, her shadow long, her spirit boundless, ready for whatever fight lay ahead. What a monumental journey. We'd love to connect with you. Drop a comment below and tell us which city or town you're watching from. Whether it's in the USA, UK, or beyond. If Tiana's story stirred your heart, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more soul-stirring tales of triumph. Till next time, keep shining bright.